So are you a golfer who regularly gets on the tee with driver, gets up there, and this happens? Off it goes, curving to the right, into trouble, and then you might aim further left, hit it even further out to the right, keep losing golf balls, and eventually you're aiming that far left, you hit one straight, and with your best swing of the day, you still lose a golf ball. And it's incredibly frustrating, and I think then driver's just a club that stays in the bag, probably just as bad with the other clubs, but it doesn't look as exaggerated with the shorter shafts and more loft. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a great drill on how you're going to get your takeaway absolutely perfect in your golf swing so that you don't have to make as many compensations on the way down. So what am I talking about there? About making a perfect backswing and having a good drill so there's no compensations. Now, I see a lot of golfers face to face, not currently in England because we're in lockdown or tier 4, but I've had a lot of golfers even lately send me stuff online from around the world, and there's a very, very similar issue with the start of their backswing, that then manifests itself into all kinds of different movements on the way down. And what we'll generally see with golfers on the way down that struggle with driver, irrelevant of how they've got here, is what they'll do is that club will work out, left, and then depending on where your club face is pointing, the amount of shape, the ball starts in a different place, and that out to in swing path creates the shape. So what we're going to talk about in today's video is, I think it's an initial movement in the start of your backswing and your takeaway that really creates a lot of problems that you then have to compensate, and it creates that over the top movement. So what do I see with a lot of golfers at address? So I would say most golfers, to be fair, set up pretty well to the golf ball nowadays. But what we'll see in that first part of the backswing is that the club moves very quickly behind the golfer, the hands work out, and that club face opens up. So as that happens, then they need to find a way of getting the club to the top, so they keep going. The mass of that club is too far behind, and the only way they can get down then is to throw the mass out in front of them, and that's that out to win movement. And it's difficult because I think, I'll be the first to coach to say a good takeaway doesn't guarantee a good shot, but it definitely gives you a better opportunity because there should be less moving parts and compensations on the way down. And I think for me, where a lot of guys struggle is they're almost trying to get that club working away so quickly, it feels very easy to get the club to move quickly if I just use my hands and my wrists to get that going. But you can see that club's going to work behind me. That club face is in a wide open position. Then they turn to the top. Now I'm in trouble. There's nowhere to go apart from get that mass out in front and go in left. So the drill we're going to work on is really the initial part of the takeaway, but also going to give you a little reference point maybe halfway through. We're going to hit some little shots and build it into the full swing. So what we're going to work on is from that good address position, we're going to feel that the hands, the arms, and the upper body particularly are all going to move together for the first maybe 3 feet of the takeaway. And you can see as I move back and the club gets to waist height now, that club shaft's running almost along the line of my toes. The leading edge of the club face is very, very similar to my spine angle. So that club face is nice and neutral and the swing is nice and wide. And I'm controlling the mass of that club head with my lead wrist joint there. And that's fantastic. I've got loads of control. And if I look at good players on the way down, they will maintain that support. They'll collect the golf ball, and on the way through, again, that shaft will be very similar to my toe line, and that leading edge will be very similar to my spine angle. So what you'll see with a lot of golfers is either From that way back, on the way down, club's working left and that club face is wide open to try and maintain the ball setting off at target. Or you'll get some golfers really coming a long way from the inside and then having to really wrap the hands over, and you again see where that club face would be on the way through. So first of all, we're going to practice. In fact, I'll show you face on before we go there. That first part of the takeaway, we almost want to feel that that lead arm and the shaft are just one continuous line, and that line isn't going to break in the initial part of the takeaway. We don't want to see that that's already broken, because then that's where we're going to have to use a lot of manipulation to square it up. So we're going to have a couple of little practice swings. So just to waist height and through. Waist height and through. And straight away, that, even for me, that feels like my hands aren't very involved in that movement. And I like that. I like that feeling that the more passive my hands can be, I know I'm not compensating, and then it allows me to swing the club on a slightly better path. So we're going to try and hit just a little swing. Don't care how far this ball goes. So that one just sneaking out to the right. And we can see on that shot there, my club path was actually very good. Just that club face was a little bit late squaring up. So again, we're going to go a little waist height to waist height. So on that one, a little bit of a compensation for the previous one. And I think when you do this drill, you'll start to notice what your tendency will be. So this will be getting much better. But if you're somebody who's historically swung a long way left, you'll probably start leaving those out to the right, like I did on that first one. If you're somebody like me who tends to be left, that'll be very good. But then on the way through, that club face will be more closed. So we want to practice that so that feels more neutral and nice and consistent. We can see, even though the golf ball's not going very far there, we're starting to see a straighter shot. So then we want to build a little bit more length and speed into the swing, but really focusing on that first part of the takeaway, and then feeling that that club's going to pass through that point on the way through. So we're going to set up and go slightly longer. And even though that one's shaped a bit to the left, if we look at the delivery number for the club there, very straight path, quite a neutral club face to be fair. That one was a little bit out the toe, which is why that shaped a bit more. So again, we're going to build slightly longer. Now obviously it's going to take you more swings than this, so don't be afraid of hitting quite a few of those shots and then building up into your more full length and full speed. And we can see there, lovely straight drive. Actually pretty good distance at 243 yards. Carry and 272 total. And for me, even though that didn't feel full speed, just felt so incredibly simple, like there wasn't really too much going on down at impact. And for me, if there's less going on, there's maybe less chance of making a mistake. But if you can work more and more on that, you're going to control that club face better. You're going to control that path better. And like I said, that first part of the takeaway, you've got to really feel that lead arm and the shaft, that line doesn't really break. That'll give you that nice control on the club face. And you'll see with nearly every golfer, if you get more control on the club face, it's amazing how your swing path starts to take care of itself. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like it and share it, comment below and I'll get back to as many people as I can. If you've enjoyed today's video and you're not currently subscribing to my channel, please consider clicking the button below. Remember to ring the notification bell, then you'll find out whenever I drop a new video. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.